we know that the Chinese government already holds a very powerful sway over these companies. How is this different?
This shows that it's even getting more powerful and even more of an entrance into these large tech companies. And some observers find this pretty concerning because these are no longer just media companies. Tencent
this
does
isn't
so
something
much.
they've done before, right?
Chinese government has historically taken positions in companies, right? But in media companies, they've mostly aired on the side of we're censoring the content. And that's something that we've really seen happen a lot more over the course of this past year. Now, taking a board seat, now that is going further than what most people have expected. It's unclear how much of a say they would have in business decisions, however. And it's concerning because now Tencent has data in the world of healthcare. They've also entered in transportation. These are not just media companies, but we know that Xi Jinping's goal is to really control the online world and the type of message and content that's spread on these platforms.
So we know that WhatsApp most recently, the latest U.S. social messaging service that was blocked. How does this fit into the broader Chinese government efforts? And do we know that this is only something they're doing ahead of this big Communist Party meeting that's coming up, or is this long-term?
Right. I mean, if you talk to experts in this area who watch China very closely, they say this is the new normal. This is the new Xi regime. He is really taking the Chinese government and saying that he wants to establish a sort of persona cult-like leadership of the country. And as you mentioned earlier, there was a WhatsApp crackdown. Thousands of websites have been shut down. Live streaming apps have closed. They even released regulation that bans women from eating bananas on live streaming because it has a seductive air to it. Right. And so it's gone quite far, and it's really a very concerted effort to clamp down on these companies.
So I spoke with Baidu President Yashing Zhang about this and said it looks like they're going in the opposite direction when it comes to the Chinese government. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Overall, the internet industry is booming in China. However, when you operate in any region, whether it's China or outside of China, there are regulations, policies any company need to abide by.
So I push back on that a little bit. Obviously, it seems to me like things are going in the opposite direction. How likely is it that this proposal for special management shares will go through?
Right, so sources have told Bloomberg that this has been in discussion since last year, so it's obviously in pretty advanced stages. But the exact methodology and details of how it's going to be done, that's not quite clear. How are these shares going to be purchased? Is it going to be through some special fund? Is it going to be state-owned media enterprises buying these shares? How much of a control are they going to have aside from content? So there's still a lot of questions hanging in the air, but this is definitely a headline risk that's ongoing for these Chinese companies. No matter how successful they are, they cannot predict what regulators are going to do. It's always a gray line there.